going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning into another edition of On the Road to Victory. I am your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having yourselves a great night. It's Thursday, and that's right. We're here to talk some birds, baby. So I appreciate each and every one of you tuning in today. It has been one hell of a long day for me, so I'm happy to be here, talk some birds with you. If you're watching live, please feel free to get your comments in. If you have any questions on anything else, please feel free to leave them down below. But it's sicko season, so we're talking about anything and everything Philadelphia Eagles now. I keep hearing all this doubt, how the Eagles need this, that, the other thing. Jalen Hurts can't do this. Our edge rush is going to be weak. We need to add there. I couldn't disagree more. I think that this team is effing loaded. And the one place I think that they're truly loaded is wide receiver. Now, I understand the skepticism as to who is going to be 3, but that's why we brought in Olamide Zaccheaus. So some competition here for the Eagles at wide receiver. 2 of the best in the game on our team. So one guy over 1,400, one over 1,200. I mean, they're pretty effing good. First duo in Eagles history to have over 1,000 yards together. So, and it's the first time since 2014 we even had one Eagle go over 1,000 yards. So, yeah, it's great having a great quarterback, great wide receivers. I'm very excited about this. But you know, as well as I do, we can sit here and love our team as much as we want and talk about how great they're going to be. But usually the media is pretty against us. So, you know, last couple of years, this has been something I happily do. Go to war with these people trying to explain how football works. And usually it's pretty bad for them. You know, Jalen Hurts can't develop. Oh, yeah, sure. Well, we're here and we're seeing something that they got right. Oh, my God. So they listed their top NFC wide receivers. And who did they have at the top? These guys right here. Not just, I almost said these 2, but more than that, the wide receiving corp as a whole. So we're going to talk about this. I'm going to give you my rankings for the NFC, and then I'm going to give you my top 10 in the NFC and talk about whether I agree the Eagles are the best and if I agree with their listings. They had the Niners 2nd, Seahawks 3rd, Cowboys 4th, and Vikings 5th. I think I have it completely different. So, look, to me, you're going to continue building on this, their first years together as receivers with Jalen Hurts. I mean, it's only going up from here. Brian Johnson taking over as offensive coordinator. I'm excited about that. He has been part of Jalen Hurts' life for most of it. So I think they're going to do well together. I think this offense is only going to get better. This offensive line is still the best in the game. The running game, I think, is going to be better with Swift and Penny. Kenny getting an uptick in reps. So I'm very excited. But the wide receivers, oh, yeah. Look, I get it. People want to talk about, you know, oh, well, we need this, we need that. And I understand it, man. Let's take a look at this wide receiver room real quick, though. So the top 4 guys, I actually feel kind of comfortable with. I think if Quez steps it up, goes back to where he was, and, you know, the couple drops he had last year were just very, very untimely. So he knows it. We know it. Needs to step it up. But we brought in Olamide. We lost Zach Pascal. So he replaces him. And, you know, Quez and Pascal were getting their reps. But really, it all hinders on those top 2. So we should feel pretty damn good about it. But beyond that, you know, who wants to step up and maybe be the 5th, maybe 6th wide receiver here? And you've got some guys with some versatility that can bring something to the return game. You've got Covey, Ward, Cleveland, Nada, Rambo, who can all return the ball. Now, Hazelwood and Devin Allen do not return any kicks, but look, maybe this offseason we give them a try, see what they can do. But you've got some competition here. But I understand when people say, you know, you want to add to the room. I'm not against ever adding competition, especially in the offseason. Got to see what you have there. So I think for me, a lot of the stuff we talk about is we're going to wait till training camp, see what this team looks like. And then if we need to add somewhere, okay. I've talked about people like Andre Roberts helping in the return game, provide some veteran depth. So maybe something like that. But, you know, to me, this conversation comes down to right now what we have. And to me, right now, we are still the best in the NFC. Now, I'm going to say for a later date, the best wide receiver group in the NFL. So do not fear, I'll get into that. But want to talk about the NFC here tonight. And look, it's quite loaded over in the AFC. So I was like, oh, yeah, this will definitely be much easier. And I'll be honest with you, there are some really good wide receiving corps in the NFC. So very intriguing here. But yo, my man, Brian, appreciate you tuning in, my dude. What else do you know about Brian Johnson? Oh, Brian Johnson is the man. I'm very excited. You guys heard me talk about him relentlessly. Go check out that playlist where you can see everything about every single coach that we talk about, why I wanted Brian Johnson to be promoted to offensive coordinator. And man, you could even go back as further as before last year when I talked about Steichen and Gannon probably being gone and why Brian Johnson needed to be brought up, why we needed to bring in defensive coordinator that ran the same defense. We did both of those things. Very excited about that. But Brian Johnson has known Hurts his whole damn life from his father. You want all those stories, go check them out. We talked about his time in Florida, used to be on the NCAA cover. And so the dude obviously has played the game, knows what he's doing here. But the fact that he had such a close relationship with Hurts is why we were so excited that he got brought in here in the first place. So he gets to grow with this offense, learn all kinds of things. And now he is going to find out for the first time if he can call plays in the NFL. So very excited about Brian Johnson. I think this is the perfect situation for he and Hurts. But if you're looking for more, I got his resume, everything you would need to know, go check that Brian Johnson video out. It'll be under the playlist, the coaching search, all that stuff. There's coaching stuff, player stuff, money stuff, anything you're looking for. And there's even a playlist for sicko season. So for all the random stuff like this, so go check that out. But let's get into this top 10 now. And this was intriguing for me, and I'll give you my full list then right after this. But here's my top 10. I've got the Eagles up top with AJ, Devontae. Then you got Quez and Alameda. And I think I feel highly about those two a little bit more than others. So that 4 right there, I think the bottom 2 could be starters on some teams. So for me, they got 4 guys that can get the job done. We'll see who can, step up as the 5th, 6th, whatever. But that's going to be the same thing for all these teams. They have more than 4 wide receivers. I just listed the top 4. I mean, there could have been a top 5, but I just went with a certain someone. So it is what it is. But up next, you see the Seattle Seahawks. And I think for them, they had the Niners next. I get it. The Niners are really good, and you could see I have them at 3. But for me, man, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, already one of the better duos in the league. But now you just drafted Jackson Smith and Jigba. Oh, my God. And now, D. Eskridge hasn't been doing anything, but he's got a very, very intriguing skill set, talented kid they could use all over the field. So maybe they see him get things started here this year. But adding Jackson Smith and Jigba with Metcalf and Lockett, I thought, oh, my God, what a huge move for them and Geno Smith. So I got them at number 2. Now, San Francisco 49ers, Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. Oh, my, if we're just doing duos, this would have been a very, very intriguing one. And I think I might do a show where not just these guys, but duos throughout the NFL. So stay tuned for that. But Juwan Jennings, Ray McLeod, decent backups, but I'm not writing home about them. I don't really think that that's something that, beyond their top 2, is anything special. But again, their top 2 are effing amazing. So I'm big fans of those guys' game. We all know that the Niners are one of the whiniest fan bases in the world. So I apologize if any Niners fans are watching this. I'm sure this is breaking your heart that you're 3rd here, but just the fact of the matter is the Seahawks have 3 guys that I really feel strongly about, and that's just the way I see it. So look, I would love to hear your thoughts, whether you agree, disagree, whatever's going on in your mind up there. I want to hear it because we're obviously all going to have differing opinions here. But beyond that, they brought in Chris Conley this year. Okay, fine. But then I've got behind them the Dallas Cowboys. And look, I think they actually did have them ranked 4th. So I think I do have 4 and 5 the same, actually. I guess I just switched 2 and 3. I thought I had like this wild, different list here, but I guess it's kind of the same. Yeah, well, whatever. So Dallas Cowboys at number 4, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Michael Gallup, Cavante Turpin there. And, they did have Jalen Tolbert they brought in last year. So they've got some intriguing wide receivers. Do not get me wrong. This is a very good wide receiving group, but above them is for a reason. Those other guys, I think, just get the job done a little bit better. Now, I almost wanted to put the Cowboys in front of the Niners, but CeeDee Lamb, he's a stud. Brandon Cooks, this dude, one of the most slept on wide receivers in the game. I mean, we've talked about this for years. Give this guy a real quarterback and watch out. Now, Michael Gallup, if he stays healthy, and then Cavante Turpin, I think the Cowboys have themselves quite a wide receiver room. There will be no excuses for Dak Prescott if he leads the league in interceptions again, even with missing 5-6 games. He really needs to step his game up if the Cowboys want to make it past Well, first off, they probably want to try to make the playoffs. If they do, their goal, their goal this year is not to win the Super Bowl. They just need to win one playoff game, and they'll be set for the next 20 years. They'll tell you about how they won one playoff game. So let's just give them that. But Dak's going to have to step it up. And, well, he's got no more excuses here. Now, at number 5, Minnesota Vikings, Jefferson. And look, they lost Thielen there, but my Lord, they added Jordan Addison to go with Justin Jefferson, KJ Osborne, and then who's that? Jalen Reagor. Oh, so I almost put Jalen Naylor in front of him, but wanted to put Reagor in there just to give you an idea why they're at number 5. Yes, Jefferson, Addison, going to be quite a duo in this league. But for me, Jalen Reagor being on there, you don't have much past that. So trying to look at this as a whole. I'm not trying to just look at the top 2, whatever, but I mean, that stuff has to go into it. But looking at this as a whole. Now, let me jump over to these comments real quick, and we'll get into the bottom 5 there. Then I'll show you my full list of the 16 teams in the NFC. But I appreciate you, Brian, and if you do check that out, feel free to comment. Love to hear your guys' thoughts on anything you watch. I'm always down to talk some birds, and I put out content every day. So for you guys to try to keep up, I know it's got to be hard, but there's just loads of information. It's always funny to me when I see like the media saying something like, hey, Jalen Hurts could be good this year. It's like, oh, you catching up there. So if you guys ever rewatch something, you're looking for something, go check those playlists out. I'm telling you, you will learn more than you've ever learned about the Eagles in just one day looking at those playlists. So appreciate you. And Troy, my man, yo, dude, appreciate you taking the time. Hope you're having a great Thursday. Hope you're all tuning in tomorrow. Go Birds. I hope you're all here tomorrow for Fan Friday. We're going to be getting rowdy as usual. I'll be doing all I can to recap the week with you guys throwing out all your crazy questions. And you guys get me telling wild-ass stories. I love it, man. Fan Friday is one of my favorite days. I used to look forward to Fridays to going out, getting trash. Now I look forward to finding true happiness with you guys. So can't thank you enough. Cole, my dude, let's effing go. Appreciate you, my man. Hope you're doing well. I'm ready for the effing weekend. It has been one hell of a long week. You guys know I make the joke about being lawnmower man. Dude, literally with all the rain, it really jacked everything up. So I was doing 2 yards yesterday, 2 today. I was getting wild, but I'm beat. But I'm always, no matter how I feel, I'm always happy to come here and talk birds with you. So I hope you guys are all doing well. If you're watching this later, you're having a tough week, you just want to talk some birds, feel free to comment down below. You don't have to be watching this live, but those of you who are, cannot thank you enough for taking the time. For watching the past few weeks, I've learned more than I ever have. Hey, really, really appreciate that, Cole. And I'm never trying to sit here and be like, I am the smartest guy. That's not me, man. I am the most obsessed with the Philadelphia Eagles. That's just in my blood. And since I was a kid, I've always just sought to learn everything I possibly could about Eagles football. And then it turned into everything football. And, with me playing the game, I picked up everything I possibly could as a wide receiver and, corner and safety. So in the secondary, a return man, I learned everything I possibly could. And then when it was over, then I learned every other position, so I've done everything I could to learn about the cap, whatever I can. And it's all just out of love for my team. And if you guys love the team as much as I do, for some reason, my brain works with numbers. My brain works with football stuff. Doesn't work much for anything else, but that's the one thing I do. So those of you who appreciate that kind of stuff, I really cannot thank you enough. Those words mean a lot. I'm trying every free second I have to try to make this a better show, but then it's like, I got to make a show. So this kind of kills me doing this daily, but I always tell you, if there's ever anything I could add to make this better, you guys want to see, want to learn about, feel free to throw it in there. And you could be on any show, but tune in Fan Fridays, especially because I tell you, that's your show. You guys can come up with whatever you want, ask me whatever you want. I free that time for you guys, so I'm not rushing. A lot of times throughout the week, I got to rush. I'm never trying to breeze through your questions. I just got to try to move. So look, that Fan Friday, it's a special day, and I really can't thank all of you enough for taking the time there. But Cole, thank you for the kind words, my man. And, I just have a passion for the game. So I'm doing my best to spread that. And, the last few years, I noticed, all the writers, nobody knew how the cap worked. Nobody knew what an odd front defense was. So I was like, wonder if I should start teaching this stuff. Now, you've seen it. I have literally changed the game the last couple of years. Now, I don't get much credit, But you've seen people finally learning how the cap works. Finally, they just take my work. It's pretty easy. But it's like, thank you. Like, I don't mind it if you just stop saying we don't have cap space. We have to trade this. Like, that is what drove me nuts. So that's what brought me here. And I'm going to keep taking those people to the woodshed. As much as they keep putting misinformation, I will keep counteracting that with, well, the facts. And they don't do well with those. But let's keep rolling here with my opinion here. And here you see the bottom 5. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man. This was weird. I was like, damn, I really got them at 6. But they got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin still, who are ballers. Russell Gage, we'll see if he stays healthy. And then they brought in Trey Palmer in the draft, little speedster there. So could be an intriguing wide receiving core, but they have Baker Mayfield at quarterback. So, best of luck to you. Now, this had nothing to do with quarterbacks, so I'm just trying to look at the wide receivers here. But I think that's a loaded room. Bucks still one of the better ones, but there are some really damn good wide receiving cores in the NFC. So this was very difficult for me. Then you see at number 7 here, I've got the Commanders with old Scary Terry, Curtis Samuel, Jahan Dotson, and Diami Brown. Now, that is quite a trio right there. And if we were doing trios, that might be one of the better trios there because they are all 3 proven right there. And man, now Jahan obviously has some work to go. Curtis has to stay healthy. But we're just imagining those things are all happening. And I think if so, Sam Howell could have himself a good time, but he's going to be battling it out with Jacoby Brissett for that starting spot. But whoever is that quarterback, they also, like the Cowboys, have absolutely no excuses there. So apologize if you were planning on making any of those excuses, NFC East fans, because you ain't got any. Now, the Saints up at number 8. I know this is weird. Chris Olave there, but Michael Thomas, I'm trying to imagine if everyone's healthy, if everyone is not suspended, just looking at the group as a whole. I like Rashid Shaheed. I think that kid, very underrated. Think he'll have a big year if Derek Carr can get him the ball. Traquan Smith there as well. So got some pretty damn good receivers. I think Chris Olave is going to be one of the better guys in the league. So I think that's a pretty damn good room still. And as we got to this range, it was really weird because there's like a really good receiver on the team. And then like, I don't know, this guy could be good. Maybe he won't. It was very questionable after this. So number 9, I had them, I believe, at first at like 11 or 12 something. And then I kept moving things around. I'm like, man, this sucks because look, DJ Moore, I think is very talented. Chase Claypool, the same. Darnell Mooney, Equanimeous St. Brown. But look, I don't know if Claypool is going to be, wearing thongs on his face or what, he's busy doing. I hear he's not really focusing on football. So I'm not sure how good they're going to be. But, you've got DJ Moore in there. So that's great. But Mooney, I actually, I know a lot of people think he's a bust, but I think he does have some talent. He just really has to put it all together. So a lot of question marks in that room, but a lot of talent there. So I wanted to put him in the top 10. Had to move out a team that I had in there because I was just like, I can't put them in here. So regardless, that team got moved out. The Lions here at 10. Now, this is just putting aside Jameson Williams being suspended for the first 6 games, but you've got Amon-Ra St. Brown. You've got Jameson Williams, Marvin Jones Jr., and Josh Reynolds. I think that's a pretty damn talented room. And unfortunately, with the suspension, won't have him right away. But we're just looking, at the room as a whole. And I think the Lions got some pretty damn good receivers there for Jared Goff. Now, I'll show you the rest of the list here so you can see what I was dealing with at the end there. But, at 11, I've got the Rams. Yeah, they've still got Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson, average, man. But beyond that, man, Skoronski's going to have to step in now. I don't know, man. Cooper Kupp's still one of the better receivers, but we're looking at the room as a whole, and I think Van Jefferson still got something there. I don't know. We'll find out this year, but I couldn't put him in the top 10. I almost had him there, but had to move him out. Then you're, looking at, again, guys like Tutu Atwell and DeMarcus Robinson are their backups. So it's really questionable as to what they're going to be. And then the Cardinals, they get rid of DeAndre Hopkins, and they've got some pretty damn nice names there, which was tempting for me to put them below the Rams. But it's like, look, Marquise Brown, is he really Hollywood? He gives himself that name. I like Rondale Moore, but has to stay healthy, has to continue to step things up. Greg Dortch did well in his absence there last year. So they've got talent. And I do like Marquise Brown and Rondale Moore and even Dortch. But to me, it's very questionable. They're all kind of smaller guys. So you're putting all slot wide receivers on your team here with a quarterback that's 4'3". So I just, and again, I'm trying not to look at the quarterbacks here and taking this into account, but I'm looking at their receivers and I'm just like, okay, so we got pint-sized Cardinals here. I don't understand. So, hey, that's great for them, but they got him at 12 there. And 13, the Carolina Panthers, yeah, I know they brought in Adam Thielen. I know Carolina Panthers fans would not like this rating, but for me, it's like, all right, dude, you got rid of DJ Moore, and I like Chark, but okay, again, I'm trying to imagine he's staying healthy, but it's like Chark, Thielen, and Terrace Marshall. Like, okay, those are all decent number 2s and 3s, but not really finding that number 1, whereas the Cardinals kind of have guys that I think could be number 1. I don't know, man. This was really weird. I wish I would have more time to throw this together, but I was like, don't overthink it, dude. Just throw it effing together there. And the Packers there, it's like, holy shoo. So once they got rid of Devontae Adams, it's like, oh, doom and gloom. Now, this is one of the most intriguing wide receiving groups, though, because for me, I think they have great upside here. Christian Watson, I think, is going to be a stud. Romeo Doubs, I like. They drafted Jaden Reed, who I like. So I think that in time, they're going to be one of the better ones. But just right now, a lot of young guys. And I don't know. There's some more proven guys on those other rosters. So that was intriguing for me. And I think, I was biased here by putting the Giants below them. But again, I think Christian Watson's going to be better than any of the receivers the Giants have. So I kind of just went with that. But they brought back Hodgins. They got Slayton. They brought in Paris Campbell, drafted Jalen Hyatt. They have Shepard, Wan'Dale Robinson. They brought in Jamison Crowder, Colin Johnson. I mean, holy hell. So, if you're looking at the team with the most guys that could possibly start somewhere, yeah, I guess that could be the Giants. But if you're lumping it all together, it's like, I don't know, man. I know we're supposed to look at this as a whole, and I did kind of feel like maybe the Giants should be a little bit higher, but as I looked at the other rosters, I'm like, they really just don't have receivers that are better than their top guys here. So for me as a whole, it's just, So, I guess the Giants will have their excuses here, but, I think over time, this will be one of the better receiving groups as well, because Jalen Hyatt, I know he's getting a lot of slack here, and if he's a bust, that would be hilarious for them, but, not for him as a human being, but, adding Paris Campbell, those things, I get it, but I think in time they could be decent, but I'm not just going to give that to them. They've got to prove it first. Then we have last the Atlanta Falcons, who, oh yeah, they brought in old Mac Hollins this offseason. That is a huge addition for them, apparently. I'm being very, very facetious here. But I think, when you look at the Atlanta Falcons, obviously going after Bijan Robinson, that's huge. He's going to help them in the receiving game as well. So sure, they won't have any issues there. But I just think, losing Olamide Zaccheaus, I think is clearly not a good thing. But to me, they just don't have it. I don't think that they have the wide receivers they need to really, Scott Miller was brought in from the Bucks. I think Frank Darby's still there. Darryl Hodge was brought in. Penny Hart. They've got Arcega-Whiteside there too. So not just Mac Hollins. But yeah, to me, I don't care if you have Drake London. I think he will actually be pretty good too. He is good. But yeah, beyond that, no, that's a no thanks for me. But love to hear your thoughts on this one, ladies and gentlemen. Who do you have as the top 10 in the NFC? Hell, you can go even further. Give me your top 10 in the NFL, whatever. But as I told you, I will be doing a show on that where I have more time to break this stuff down, make you cool-looking graphics, all that great stuff. But doing my best to provide you with as much content as I can during this sicko season. But, yo, my man Gene in here, let's effing go. You know what, my dude? Appreciate you taking this time and just went over, talked about my top 10 wide receiving corps in the NFC. And this is a very intriguing, fun one to do, but it's loaded in the NFC. In the AFC, holy I'm glad I didn't have to try to put this together with as little time as I had tonight. So I will be looking forward to, during this sicko season, doing that wide receiver video. Now, I told you a lot of these group things, I'm going to react when PFF or somebody does something just for something to talk about, but I will work on all those things we do each year where we talk about the best groups, this, that, the other thing, but that'll take me some time. I want to get some good graphics together, give you, my actual thoughts rather than just trying to throw something together, which happens a lot. So It's sicko season. I don't give a damn. Just doing all I can to keep you all entertained. William, my man, hope you're doing well. Appreciate you tuning in, my dude. If you guys have any further thoughts, any questions, comments, whatever it may be, feel free to get them in. If you're watching this later, please comment down below. It will help the algorithm out, but I'm always down to talk some birds with you. So let's go. Do you think that the Eagles have the best wide receiving group in the NFC, in the NFL maybe? Let me hear your thoughts down below, but I'll be back tomorrow, and it's Fan Friday. So for all of you channel members, get those questions in to that post. You will see if you are a member, but if you're not, you can always tune in anyway. You can help me answer those questions that are thrown in. Ask your own questions. I will get to as many as I can. You know I try to get to all of them. Do my best to have a great time with you guys while answering all of the questions. So hope to see you then. But until then, I am Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. You all have yourselves a great Thursday night. Stay safe out there. And as always, do me a favor, hit that like button. Say it with me now. Cowboys!